Like, he might even play
Samuel,
Samuel.
Black Feather,
into
Alpha.
this.
Like, they could play almost whatever they
Petal,
want.
Samuel, yep, are all good picks. Petal, Samuel, CP Glaive, and potentially here Alpha, CP Alpha. So let's see what they decide to do here. Or even if, I don't think he'll pick Scarf into this actually. He probably won't pick a jungle Scarf, but I think out of those jungles you just mentioned, it's going to be one of those. Yeah. I say he leans towards the Alpha here, or Petal. Alpha or Petal, I think is probably going to be his picks.
They're going deep into their bonus time on this last selection. Really thinking it over, wanting to make sure they get the right pick.
Anticipation's killing me here. Really cutting it to the wire. Alpha. There's the Alpha.
There we go.
There it is. Well, the draft is set for Cloud9 versus Gankstars. I mean, initially, what do you guys really think about this? I mean,
not going to get any more points if you can't put up any wins. And it's the battle of that second place bye. Very important in terms of the workload going into that first day when we do get to London.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not the easiest of opponents to go through either. Gankstars, they've had a fairly consistent season. Actually, one of the only teams, I think, to actually end up at all final events, if I remember correctly. I had Horned by Ukrainian showing us some statistics of it, and they've never missed a Vainglory seasonal championship, and they're planning on not doing it again. But we do see I Love Joseph invading, as he is looking to steal away cams. Xenotech Rector are here as well, and you see Arakizoro coming down. But there's going to be a fight breaking out around this Treant, as Xenotech going to get focused on down. Treant is doing work, but Joseph's going to look to try and secure it. It does go the way of Arakizoro. Means Joseph very low. One more auto attack will do the trick. Direct has the missile launch. First blood to Rect. Cloud9 looking to try and escape, but there's the speed boost, and they're diving in, looking for old school. Xenotech just going to use his passive if necessary, as he face tanks all the damage from Gabe Vizzle. Does manage to survive the burn duration from Gabe Vizzle, but he'll get a heal up. Looks like they're just trying to punish this invade still as much, but here comes Joseph. Low cooldowns, and he's going to be charging right on in, looking for a kill of his own into the three of them, looking for more. Xenotech will go down into his reboot, and he will get popped by Joseph. Gets his revenge, and now can Joseph, this kitty cat, get ferocious? No, he's just going to look to steal more jungle.
A little bit of a difference in energy by the end of all that one. Like Gabe and Old School still actually very high on the energy, but Rect was pumping out the abilities, looking for that catch-up mechanic, and well, this early into the game, Joseph was able to come back, and that's why Xeno did really lose his life. But overall, not the biggest of deals. When it comes back and forth, it's still Cloud9 with more steal, a bigger kill, and now a little bit more of that lane farm going their way as well. So a lot of bloodthirstiness here early on.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's very bloodthirsty, as Joseph's looking to try and take over the early game, try and put as much pressure on Xenotech's Alpha. It was a little bit of a back and forth, but actually the net result is that Cloud9 secure more gold from these jungle camps, and they have an advantage as Joseph's going to protect his own. Whole of Cloud9 rotating down. They want this win, you can tell, and Rect's in trouble. And it's going to be Xenotech diving on in, but he does not have his passive available. Joseph smells, kills. Can he find it? No. He cannot. Rect going to get away as well. Cloud9 may not find the kills, but what they're continuously doing is taking away these camps in the back here forecourt, and it is definitely creating a gold deficit. If they get this as well, oh, that's just starving Xenotech. Arakizoro cannot do anything to help on out. On the Halcyon report this week, we had a discussion with B-Rad and Suijay forecourt, and we're talking about Hammers and their play style, very early aggressive, what we're seeing Joseph employ here. And you need to rotate your carry down to kind of deal with it, but even as Gankstars are doing so, they're not actually really able to keep their jungle alive for Xenotech. There's a huge gold deficit between Xenotech and Joseph, and an experience deficit growing as well.
Well, 21 last hits to 4. Yeah, you could be saying that Joseph in this aggression is getting well rewarded. Absolutely. Xeno's up in lane just looking for some of that ambient experience, ambient gold, and even throws down the protocol looking for, or the prime directive looking for the jungle, but it's just not there, and now Joseph, like, he just lives out here now.
Yeah, and Old School's actually providing a brick wall that prevents the rotation from Araki. Xenotech going to go into his passive. Wrecked in trouble as well. Another kill goes over to Cloud9, and they're going to look for more. Araki Zoro getting aggressed on top of. They're diving this turret, and they're looking for an ace. Erect will put out that bright bulwark, and it will stop Joseph going for more. But Cloud9's early game macro play is just something else right now. Looking to really bring it to Gankstars and finish this one soon.
One overextend there from Gankstars. When they got that kill, they should have just, kind of went back to the jungle, but they thought that they could push it out. The early game advantages that they thought they had just absolutely not there. And Joseph he died, he came back, and he is just really enforcing now. Like, he is here to pick up all the farm. He lives on your side of the jungle. He has a good bit of crystal to his name already, and you're going to be looking for more soon.
More. Yeah, the Sorrow Blade, Power Spike, Joseph looking to get the kills, but the Crystal Sentry's here, and he will provide a bit of oh, never mind. They're just going to go for this. Looking for the kills. Joseph needs to be careful, but that is Araki going down. Xenotech drops just before his passive regens, and the Crystal Sentry goes down as well. This early game aggression, you can see Cloud9 have been working so hard on their early game. It's something that we criticized them for, Cole, was that they like to play a little bit passively. They like to kind of be sure of their advantages. Right now, they're just taking everything.
And Cloud9 with the item spike on that one really did a big solid for them on there because they invaded and there was just such a big power difference already. Araki Zoro at the end of that fight picked up a tension bow. 5.5 minutes, finally finding the opportunity to go spend that cash. That's not when you want a tension bow. You want a tension bow as close as you can, 3 to 4 minute mark in that range. That's where you really shine. But 5.5, you're looking at tension bow versus a Sorrow Blade. You're looking at a very built up Joseph versus not the same from Xenotech, and the farm is still in order of 100% right here. Like, Joseph is still over doubling that of Xenotech, and it's really starting to become a huge problem.
Yeah, a huge problem, as you mentioned. Cloud9 quite literally living in the enemy jungle right now as Old School finds damage onto Wrecked and Xenotech. They have to question if there's anything Gankstars can do rather than just turtling to stop this up. The gold lead is enormous right now. It's 4,500 at 6.5 minutes. Old School just going to get all this farm.
It's also level 6s versus level 5s. You see this in some of the other games, but never really quite as clear as it is here. It is actually 3 level 6s versus 3 level 5s. Like, the power difference is outstanding right now for Cloud9.
Yeah, no, incredibly different as they push their lead to 5,000 here. You see that infusions have been purchased up, right?
7 minutes, no problem.
Why not? Why not? Level 7 infusions, because they can continuously taking fights. Wrecked, Xenotech, sorry, has just finished his Aftershock, but that might be enough to kind of create a bit of a power spike if Araki and Xenotech are able to blow someone up between them. Very interesting. Treads, yes,
yeah.
Purchased by Gabe Bizzle. They want to be able to catch someone out of position.
Yeah, the rush down, the starvation, like, it's just rinse repeat aggression, Dowsy. It's just continuous pushing up against Gankstars. You said, what can they do other than turtle? I don't think they have a choice. They have to turtle. They have to just really hide behind these turrets, but that turret just does not stand.
Gabe Bizzle with the minion candy just to make the wave even stronger and force Gankstars to give up more of their turrets. Yeah, it's a huge gold lead now, 6,500 at this 8-minute mark. Cloud9 en route to be hitting 10,000 at 10 minutes, which would be incredible for them and devastating for Gankstars.
Yeah, the 1,000 a minute that you can keep consistently gaining, even up to the 15,000 mark. Like, I've seen 15K. It was a really one-sided game, but 1,000 gold a minute more than your opponent is really an outstanding metric, and not something you might have expected to see here into this last week, because there really is a lot here for Cloud9, but it really does come down to Gankstars again. Just one fight, they over-aggress, and seemingly they've lost everything out, like, just this so early. Like, Araki Zoro is down 40 CS. Xenotech still down 20 CS. We're at 2 item spike already for Old School.
Yeah, something that does need to be stated, I think, is that I'm not entirely sure how the tiebreakers work between Cloud9 and Hammers. We'll talk about this in a second. It looks like Joseph wants the fight here. Gankstars in trouble, but Xenotech's laying down damage. Perhaps they underestimated the turret that is there. Cloud9 just push baiting. So Cloud9, not entirely sure if they win or lose or if they tie the tiebreaker. There is multiple methods, and I think we're going all the way down to our third method to kind of decide who would win a tiebreaker between Hammers and Cloud9 in points alone. So we have to make the assumption that Cloud9 are gunning for a win this week, Forecourt. TSM versus Tempo Storm is our other semi-final. And it is assumed that TSM would be favorites, right? That makes sense. So if Cloud9 can do this to Gankstars, what they're currently doing, I wonder if they can do the same to TSM. That's going to be the true test, is if they're able to kind of win an early game so hard like this, and then take the finals. But maybe I'm getting ahead of myself. That's kind of discounting Gankstars right now. They are turtling and they aren't giving up as many kills as they have been, but they are also losing out on a ton of neutral objectives.
Yeah, it's not really the kills. It's all about the gold if you look at it back and forth. And it's not quite the 1,000 per minute mark, but the items just continue to roll in. We're at 3 items here for Gabe Vizzo. We're still looking for a little bit more of a completion sake here for Joseph, but 113 last hits from Old School has really put him into a big damage zone.
All right, so I do have confirmation that Hammers do have the tiebreaker in points. All the tiebreaker scenarios go to Hammers, which means that Cloud9 would need to win this week, guaranteed, if they want to overtake Hammers on the standings, gain themselves second place in North America, and grab one of those buy spots in the Unified Live Championships next month, even in May. Next week, I wish.
But, not quite next week. We got challenge battles next week.
Next week we got challenge battles. We get to see new faces, or maybe old ones. We'll have to find out.
Yeah, see who enters, who takes a break, and well, Gankstars and Cloud9, neither of them are going to be part of that. But oh, what a block!
That was a huge block coming forward. Have to see if it's good enough though, as it looks like Cloud9 want to get out of here. Gankstars popping some infusions, Xenotech with the crystal. Looks like Cloud9 are going for the flank. They could pop the wall treads and really get on top of Araki here if they want to go for it. May get spotted. Yep, they have been. They're almost certain, and the flare goes out to confirm it. Cloud9 will exit out. They are wanting to play this one safe as possible for court, but they will look for a fight now. The wall treads popped. There's the portal through. Gives Araki Zora an escape method, I think.
That's something of a cooldown to blow right there, and I'm not entirely sure that was the direction that he wanted to go.
Man, this is a much slower pace, as Cloud9 are starting to respect the fact that if they fight under a turret and lose the fight forecourt, that they will give away a lot of their advantages.
Well, 8,000 gold is really hard to make up in one fight, but you are right. Like, once you take control, don't slip up, don't do big, flashy, arrogant plays. Just play it safe, turtle up, and we'll just progress down the line. So Cloud9 progressing through their items. There really is not a big incentive to end the game before 15 minutes. It's not like they get an award or an extra point or anything out of it, but the starvation factor really does make it hard once a Kraken starts knocking at the door here for Gankstars, because then you're going to be really bringing forth the power of your items.
Certainly, and I guess this factor for Cloud9 that they have to be wary of is that Alpha definitely has a much better mid to late game than Koshka does. So there is some incentive to finish the game quickly, but we quite frequently see Cloud9 just stall things out. Once they get a really early lead, they take down all the outer turrets, they eliminate the Crystal Sentry, then they look to perhaps wait for the Kraken to spawn and just use that as their method of breaking the base, because it's almost risk-free. The Kraken is guaranteed to take the choke point turret unless something went horrendously wrong.
Yep, that's it. That's exactly it. Some people get a little bit more ahead of themselves, and all of a sudden, an advantage, they're too far extended, or they're just kind of stuck around a little bit too long at a certain point, or the Crystal Miner gets involved in a 4v3, and you think 8,000 gold might be enough, but it's not. So, like, none of that's happening here, because Cloud9 have an iron fist on this game. It is their tempo, it is their control. They are pushing up, they are stealing out the jungle, they're farming both sides of the fold here, and Joseph, he's passed 2 items. Consistent infusions has actually forced out a lot of consistent infusions from Gankstars, and that's, I mean, it keeps them a little bit more level in power, but when it comes to building out those items for that final fight, right, just 500 gold at a time really puts you behind after a while.
Ooh, it looks like Gankstars want to fight. They found Best Chuck Sorry, not Best Chuck. Old School separated from himself, and he's going very low, but they've turned the fight. Araki goes down. Xenotech gonna get stunned up. Gabe Fizzle to face him as well. Xenotech goes down without a termination protocol, but he will be able to reboot. No! Not he won't! He goes down at the last second. And that's going to be a win for Cloud9. Very close there. Gankstars found Old School isolated and were able to do a lot of damage, but now this turret should fall. Rekt not really able to do much about it.
No, Joseph is absolutely a powerhouse. He should get that last hit eventually. There he goes. That's the shield on top of it right there, Dowsy. Just a little bit too much for the kitty cat to handle unabated, but they're not going to stick around this time. No, Raki Zoro is something of a fearsome beast. He has infused. He has those 2 items. That's a pretty good mid-game strength. If this was like the 11-minute mark, unfortunately it's closer to the 15. But you saw that we were able to get a kill, and a lot of that was Raki Zoro.
This is okay. So you may look at this most recent purchase.
Yeah,
that
Gabe
Visual has put out. Poison Shiv on your captain. Now, this is actually something that one of Cloud9 analysts, I play with her very often, by physics. She's actually very nervous as she's handling most of the drafting and stuff today. This is something that she came up with when we play solo queue. If she thinks that there's a lot of healing on the opposite team, she'll buy a Poison Shiv and try and use it as she feels that the captain can afford one of those items for the Mortal Wounds, especially on Adagio or Lyra. So I don't know if this is something she's brought to Cloud9 or something that Cloud9 brought to her and then she showed to me. It could go either way, but very interesting. First time I think we've seen this in competitive play.
Yes, it is. Absolutely. But I have to wonder if this was a closer game, if there's only like 2,000 goal between them, would we still see that? Just a little bit of a nagging thought in the back of my head. That being said, Cloud9 is not 2,000 ahead. No, they are actually 12,000 ahead, Dowsy. 12,000 at the 16-minute mark is pretty overwhelming. And with the choke point turret done and the Kraken coming down, infusions aplenty on both sides. But Iraqi's just ran out.
He has just ran out. He has 500 gold now, and I'm assuming that's going to be a fusion purchased. Yeah, there it is in the back pocket. Kraken now pushing into the base. Cloud9 just waiting for the fight. They're going to come in and look to do their most damage as possible. Araki getting bursted on down, but there's the Aces High landing onto this kitty cat. Araki going to get bursted, and Joseph still alive. That's going to be Rekt falling. That's going to be Xenotech put into his reboot as well. And now we are going to see the Ace. Cloud9 with the Kraken, as we said, going to push into the base forecourt, and they're going to take game 1 very, very convincingly.
Yeah, 10-2 and 13,000 gold by the end. It's just one bad early engage is sometimes irrecoverable, and having that early game mobility, that early game jungle damage of Joseph on this Koshka, it really kind of came together very nicely there for Cloud9. As soon as they found those kills, they were able to motor on back, push right up against Gankstars, and that's when containment just started happening.